Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to this week's edition of On the Other Line Canada. We have an awesome show lined up for you. For any of you that missed it, we did a little bit of a in honor video at the beginning of the show for Cody and Steve. Always remember, we are a family. If you need help, reach out. That's what we're here for. Lloyd, welcome to the show. I don't know why I'm holding this today. Let's get that out of the way. Barb, welcome to the show. I love your antics with Barry today, and I don't know if Barry will be coming on here, but you keep it coming. Lloyd, it's been a while since we've seen you on the show. Thanks for visiting. I'm going to get right to the point here. I can't call him the third wheel anymore. Have we figured out a name for you yet?
No, there's no name for such an amazing person, I think.
Well, that's the nicest thing you said about Aaron in, 7 or 8 months we've had the show going?
Oh, I was talking about you, but...
Oh, okay. I thought you were trying to still make up for the best friend comment. I wasn't sure how that was going to work.
No, it's hunting season, so now she's not watching, so it's okay.
Because she's out hunting and you're stuck in the house doing this? Is that...
Well, she's doing all her foraging. She's a mushroom queen. Like, we have so many mushrooms stacked on our counter right now of different varieties, shaggies, puffballs. Like, we don't need any mushrooms for the winter. She's baking them and freezing them, so we got mushroom soup, mushroom chili, whatever you want to throw in them, right? It's delicious.
Maybe this will be a good question for when we bring Chris in, because I don't know anything about picking mushrooms. I would probably be the guy that would pick the mushroom you're not supposed to and have whatever reaction you have. Is there a lot of danger in picking mushrooms?
There is. Some you can't take with alcohol. Like if you're consuming alcohol, you can't have them, but they're edible still. There are some poisonous ones in Alberta, but mostly you just have to... There's a lot of real recognizable ones, like the shaggy mane and morels and stuff. They're extremely easy to identify. And like Aaron's been doing it for 2-3 years now, so we eat a lot of wild mushrooms every year.
Well, trust Aaron's instinct. Don't trust mine.
Oh, yeah.
There's another guy that may or may not know.
That's an easy one right there.
Now, do you think Chris knows his mushrooms?
I'm assuming he would.
Okay, well, let's see. Chris, how
what is happening, everybody?
Are you a master of mushrooms?
I am pretty decent at mushrooms, and like Mitch said, morels, they're very recognizable, but there are false morels out there which can do some damage on you. So, but yeah, shaggy manes are very easy. Chicken of the woods are easy to find. Puffballs are really, really easy. So yeah, absolutely. There are definitely recognizable ones out there, but they can do a lot of damage to you if you don't know what you're looking for.
I want to try the one that you can't drink alcohol with, because something tells me if you can't eat something and drink, we've got a problem here.
Yeah, no, we don't try those ones, but I know she puts them in the freezer just kind of if she gets a little mad at me, maybe.
I was just going to say that.
Might be the ones that I'll get.
Yeah. And
then you might see me disappear too.
Well, you and I have already decided that Marcy and Aaron can't hang out anymore. So long as we keep that distance, I won't have to worry about any secret frozen mushrooms ending up in my freezer anytime soon.
Yeah, but they could be plotting. You never know.
Yes, this is true. Chris, it's hunting month, survival month, but what has your fishing season been like?
Fishing season this year has been kind of hit or miss. I didn't really get out to a whole lot of my usual long trips or anything along those lines this year, with just work and everything being pretty busy. But I still did get out quite a bit, and it's been a pretty good season. I mean, a lot of good walleye, some pretty good pike this year. My wife and I, we went down to Waterton for a little bit, so I was out in Waterton there at the end of July, and it was a slower season than what I usually am used to, but it was still a good season to get out. Anytime you wet a line, it's a good time.
Now, I know one of your favorite spots to fish. What has the weather been like there? How has it affected fishing this year? I'm interested to know because I haven't been there, and usually I go and poach all your spots.
It depends on which spot you go. The spot that we met, or which spot?
Okay, well, that just sounds creepy. Obviously not the spot we met.
Because that would be the Gladiators nightclub downtown.
Yeah.
I was thinking never mind.
Yeah.
What?
I'm not talking about Denny's Flying J. I'm talking about the one kind of southish. East.
Yeah, I haven't been down there actually this year. So I usually just went more just right east. Like I didn't go too far. I did a couple kind of a little bit down south, but for the most part, it was just straight shot east. Didn't go west too much outside of Waterton for sure. But yeah, didn't go too far east into the Rockies or anything this year.
Did you fish where we first met?
I did not. Wow. I know Pisces still has that ban, so I'm not allowed back in Pisces or Petland anymore. So, I mean, if you're still able to get in there.
I'm still allowed to go there to buy feeder fish. We do it for the axolotls, but I'm not allowed to put my head in the goldfish fish bin.
Yeah, I mean, you learned that the third time, right?
Yeah, but my face is taken off the wall there, so that's pretty nice.
That's a win. That's a win, because that's a big mural.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Now, I forgot to say something at the start of the show. Mitch, I know you're a hoarder. You have a bunch of stuff kicking around. We did have a contest. Now, one of the contest things was, if you're watching the show this evening, share it live. Let people know you're here getting ready for a snooze after watching this show so that you can get a chance to win a stove. I don't know. Do we want to tell people who won the stove just for sharing our post last week? Let's see that stove.
Well, we could probably, if people are sharing this live right now, maybe we'll just see how many people share it live right now. And we'll go see how many people shared it.
Now, Chris, Naked and Afraid, is this an item you would want to bring with you?
Fuel runs out. So I would say probably not. You could do a pretty good primitive rocket stove with just some clay if the thing's in the right environment, or a good Dakota fire pit, Todd, which I know you're a big fan of.
My favorite.
But I probably would not bring that stove. You could repurpose it. I mean, the tin, you could do a lot for like signaling. You can do a lot with the hose. But I mean, just for a pure item, I would probably default to something that wouldn't require any combustible fuel.
Definitely. Like if you're going away on a competition as yourself did,
yeah,
it's not something you bring. It's a comfort thing for backpacking, right? It's lightweight.
And there's other ones out there too. There's other ones out there too that it's just straight up wood stove. So UCO actually makes a folding wood stove one that I bring with me in the woods. So that is the one that I kind of default. And I have a bunch of those rocket stoves and jet boils and everything as well. But I'll just load up that fold out UCO stove, and that's the one that I'll bring.
Yeah, no, I tested one out a month ago. And they're pretty cool. They're sweet. You don't need any fuel.
Yeah,
and lightweight.
Mm-hmm.
They work great.
I will have to check that out. I'm not familiar. That's why I bring experts on the show.
Well, then I will leave.
Well, you're an expert in your own sort of way, right?
Absolutely.
With Naked and Afraid, I know you've been trying. You've got a page set up. Any response? I know you can't always talk about where you're headed, what you have going on, but any plans or goals for the new year coming up?
So my fan page, Christopher James Naked and Afraid, that is one that I set up, absolutely. But there's actually another page called the Christopher James Campaign. And that was one that fans actually set up. I have nothing to do with it. So I'm not a mod. I'm not an administrator. I'm not nothing along those lines. Same as the petition. So, I mean, I have a lot of great support and a lot of great fans. And hell, this is probably being shared there. So if you are, what's up, Lion Pride? But as far as going, I was supposed to go to Africa 8 weeks after I got back, but wasn't cleared. Would I like to go back on? Absolutely. But as of right now, there's no plans, nothing in the works for me to get back out there anytime soon. So we'll see what happens next year.
Well, I think it's just time to start your own TV show. That's what everyone else does, right?
Absolutely. I mean, and you guys are doing a great addition right now for that show. So I look forward to having you guys on board.
Well, I know the first time around we had Adam on board, and we know where Adam stands with being naked and afraid. Mitch, would you do it?
Naked and afraid?
Yes.
Yeah, that's my weekends if I'm not working. I don't know.
I don't know if you've ever been afraid, but the naked part, yeah, I can kind of get that. I've seen reports from Gull Lake of you kind of floating around there with no clothes on.
The ghost. But we don't touch on that. I don't know if I do like the naked and afraid stuff. I'm more of just what's on my back. Like if I'd rather do more scenarios like getting lost in the wilderness, what you had from if you're on a hunting trip for the day trip. If you're fishing and something happens, like you break an ankle or something, and how you're going to make it to the next day if you're by yourself. And things like that, I think I'd like to focus more on.
There's been a lot of real good programs out there that kind of showcase exactly that. So there was a show called Dual Survival where they did exactly that. So they'd simulate if your boat capsized or your quad bottoms out or things like that, and how to repurpose a lot of the stuff that you may already have with you. So, I mean, there's been a lot of real cool shows that have been out there and have doing it already. And I'm kind of with you. Let's be honest here. If I'm out hunting, 8 times out of 10, I'm probably not naked. So, I mean, for me to go out there with just like a machete and a fire starter and that's it, not too realistic. Let's be honest here. But your clothing is your first line of defense. It's your first shelter. So to strip it right down, it just adds that other element. But nobody is going to be in the deserts of northern Mexico absolutely naked trying to survive, right? It just doesn't happen. So being able to identify different things that you may have with you already, repurpose them or reuse them or just carry them, like these little survival kits that you guys can pick up. I don't like them personally, but they're always good to kind of have, and duct tape and things like that. Just knowing what you have with you and how to use it, you'll get out of it, because most of the time survival is all about what's up here.
Chris, when you mentioned that kit, it might not be what you would bring. Obviously, it's the equivalent of, having the little dollar store sewing kit that you take and the thread's never good enough. Yeah. Is that kind of what it's like? It's just a basic beginner's kind of kit?
I mean, the kits themselves are good, but they're fairly generic, all things considered. So you might get a couple like alcohol swabs, some water purifying tablets, a little strip of like duct tape. You might get a mirror, a whistle, things along those lines. You'll get the stuff to get you through it, but they're not all encompassing. So if you were to go out there and make a survival kit, make it yourself with the environments that you guys are around, as well as equipment that you're comfortable with. So if you're not comfortable with like a water purifying tablet, bring a life straw, bring something else that will allow you to get clean water. If you're not comfortable with a fire starter, throw matches or a lighter or something like that in there. Make it your own for different climates and different environments that you're going to be going into. This would be worse than useless on ice, for example. It's not going to help you out. So you might need like an ice survival kit or a winter survival kit. You might need a boreal forest survival kit. You might need a desert one. So just kind of identify where you're going to be going and tailor make them yourself. And you can get them, in little cases or things along those lines for dirt cheap from Walmart. And then just add what you want to it. Add cordage, add whatever you need. Books, knot tying stuff, whatever you need to throw in there. that's specific to where you are going to be.
Right.
If you bring something along those lines, and yeah, the space blanket's going to help you out, and there's a lot of uses for it. But outside of that, it's kind of worse than nothing on ice. It's not going to help you out too much.
Right.
Whereas if you have something like those little crack heater pads that you could throw in your pockets or your gloves or your boots, if you have a bunch of those in there, tea bags, if you have high energy foods, things like that, that's going to help you out a lot more in winter than maybe a water purifying tablet when you're dealing with a bunch of snow around you.
Right. You had actually mentioned Life Straw. I was going to bring that up. You pack one with you?
I do. Yeah. So I'm a big believer in 2 is 1 and 1 is none. So I always try with whatever I do, I always try and have an alternate. So if I bring a lighter and that lighter gets damaged or runs out of fuel, yeah, it's a mini ferro rod. I can get a fire going, but the general public couldn't. And if that was my only source of fire, was this little fire starter here, was this little lighter, you're hooped, right? So absolutely, I'll bring a Life Straw, but fortunately enough, I know where to find clean water, be it a spring, be it digging wells, or making your own filter with like charcoal and debris and rocks and letting it go, or collecting it with just a plastic bag and plants, right? You can get water that way. You can get water out of the dirt. If you have enough plastic bags and a rock in a container, you can get water out of that. So,
or I distinctly remember in one of your broadcasts, I think you pack a condom with you as well, correct?
Yeah. So condoms are one of those things that it expands, and it's latex, and you can carry a ton of water in the condom. Plus, it really also helps with fire starting with the latex if it's a lubricated one. So that will actually help start fires. It is latex and rubber. Those things catch fire very, very well, and they're waterproof in that regard. So you can get a lot of them wet, and it'll still start a fire. You could use them in, like, put them over like our old school things where we used to put bread bags over our socks before walking in the winter.
Yep.
Right? You can throw a condom underneath, and you're good to go. There's a bunch of uses for condoms for sure.
I still use Walmart bags in my boots.
Absolutely.
Old school. Just old school that way. I bet you didn't think I was going to bring up the condom thing. I know most people are probably laughing at us, but when I heard it, I thought, what a wicked idea.
Absolutely. And another good one that you guys could bring that a lot of people don't think about is duct tape. All right, so you can get a roll of duct tape for $2. And the amount of stuff that you could do with the duct tape is out of the world. It's good for blisters, good for first aid. Like Mitch, you were saying, you could use it to work as a tourniquet. You can tighten it all up. You could use it for Band-Aids. You could use it to seal a bunch of things. But you could also make sunglasses out of them to keep the glare out of it. It is another waterproof fire starter. So if you guys are in wet conditions, the fibers and everything within the duct tape will catch a spark or will catch a flame. So you could actually use it for that. You could use it for cordage. There's a bunch of uses that you guys could do with just duct tape. And I mean, you can make cups if you really, really need to out of duct tape, or blankets or slings. The amount of stuff that you could do with it is out there. And it is hands down, if you guys were to go out there and buy a survival item today, I would say go get duct tape.
If you have a hatchet or something, you just wrap it around your handle over and over and over again. Then when you need it, you just unwrap it. And you always have that hatchet. Like most of the time when you're going for a day trip or something, you're going to pack a sandwich, a lighter, maybe a hatchet. You're going to have a fire. But there's always those things you have to have. And most important, like, I go over the top just because I know things that I want. And if stuff happens, I'm just going to have fun. Like my ankle broke. I'm like, hey, I'm missing 2 days of work before someone finds me.
Yeah.
But that's just me, right?
And that's just it. Like wrap it around the hatchet, because if you can't whip your hatchet handle, you're going to get blisters anyway. So you might as well pad it out. But for me, I always put it at the bottom of my lighter. So then I can wrap that off. But the lighter itself is actually flammable. So if you take your knife and you actually scratch the lighter itself, all that plastic will catch a fire too. So there's a ton of different multi-uses that you could do out there. And yeah, exactly like you said, Mitch, like wrap it around your hatchet, wrap it around a lighter, just fold a bunch of pieces on itself and you can still peel it apart. Like it doesn't take up a bunch of space and you don't need a whole hell of a lot of it.
And it's a super valid point, because I always pack a lighter with me for obvious reasons, but when I'm not a smoker, I still pack a lighter. It's like my little crutch.
Mm-hmm.
But it's never in a situation where if something was to happen, it would be watertight.
Yeah. But the plastic on the lighter is waterproof. So all you have to do is just wipe it clean, scratch off some of that plastic, and you're good to go. Another good one that doesn't take up space is a guitar pick. So a guitar pick is made out of celluloid. You can throw it in your wallet. You can throw a bunch of them in your wallet, shave that down. It'll catch fire for you too. So you can throw a few of those in your truck, in your wallet, and first aid kits, and they don't take up any space at all, and you still have an option for fire.
Now, I'm interested to know from both of you, when we're talking about survival kits and stuff like this, do you guys ever feel that you overpack for that stuff, or do you have a system down pat now?
I've been doing this a long time. I'm pretty comfortable with the system and knowing where I'm going. And the biggest thing when it comes to survival, you can pack all the gear in the world, but if you don't know what you're doing with it, you're just packing a bunch of weight that isn't going to help you out. So I'd much rather pack a bunch of stuff that I'm comfortable with and carry it than carry everything and not know how to use it. But if I'm going into the wilderness and I'm going on a hike or a day trip or an overnight, I always let at least 3 people know where I'm going, when I'm expected to be back, how I'm going to get back, where I'm going to park. If I'm able to, I'll drop a pin where my truck is. I let people know kind of what my plans are, so that if I'm not back in time, they have a start point, so they know exactly where to go. And then mark your trails. But as far as like bringing a bunch of gear, like I said, I'm a big believer in 2 is 1 and 1 is none. So I will always bring like a big bad boy machete like this, but I'll also bring a small little fixed blade as well as a multi-tool. So there's all my fixed blades that I need and all my knives. Fire, I'll bring matches. I'll bring cordage. I will bring fire starters. I'll bring a bunch of jute twine. I'll bring cotton balls soaked with Vaseline. I'll bring dryer lint and petroleum jelly. Like, I will bring all this stuff just in case. And it's more of a comfort thing. So if I do get injured and I'm not able to do a bow drill, or I'm not able to go out there and gather a lot of wood or process out good dry tinder, at least I know I have that default where I can still get a fire going, or a quick shelter with the survival blankets, like the Mylar blankets. At least I know I'll still be okay until I can get myself out.
As many options as possible. Mitch, what about you? A pillow and a bottle of whiskey?
Well, I'm more of a Canadian Tire survivalist, I guess. I'll have like a 6x8 tarp. I'll throw it in the bottom. Then I'll run a bone saw or a wood saw. Same thing. You can give a Canadian Tire. I think they're about 12-inch. They fold up nicely. Then I'll just have a hunting knife, a skinning knife, maybe around like 4 inches. That's going to be around an 8 thick. So I can still hack the smaller branches, break them into certain things. And you can still do a lot with it and not waste too much energy.
Yeah.
And then once you got that going, you can always have your little flint strikers and your lighter. And I always have a set of regs or hunting or fishing regs in my thing. So you have unlimited paper, and it's all good paper from Alberta. It's like there's only like 4 pieces that aren't good fire starter, and they're always good to have, right?
Yeah.
Every season I'll load up on them and just burn, just because you always want to set. But that's extra weight. So you can throw that in a Ziploc with just a couple of waterproof matches and rope. Like, I overpack probably. I'll run just small amounts of everything, but just enough rope so I can make a half-ass lean-to.
Yeah.
And something to start a fire if something happens. And that's all I really need, because I've slept overnight on many trails when we're 4x4ing and stuff, and I've known what I need at this point for myself personally to make it through the night. If my truck breaks down in the middle of nowhere when we're going over all the quad trails, I know we'll put down spruce browse around the fire if it's not going to rain, and we're going to sit right beside that fire. So that gets you off the ground. And when you're close enough, that heat's going to come through the ground too and come up through your spruce browse as well. And you're getting the heat through just being beside the fire, right?
Yeah.
But you want to be far enough away that your spruce boughs aren't going to light on fire, right? So you're going to want to make sure which way the wind's going so you're not sparking yourself.
Yeah.
But like you can go on and on with survival stuff. There's so many aspects to different scenarios. You can go on for days, right?
Oh, 100%. And Mitch, you kind of touched on it there, sleeping up off the ground. And that is one of the most important things that a lot of people overlook is getting up off the ground. That ground is going to sap all the heat out of you. So you could have the ragingest fire out there, but if you're still laying on the ground, heat loss mechanics, that ground is going to pull all that heat away from you. So if you're able to get up off the ground, and that could be something as simple as a bunch of just dead leaves or spruce boughs or a hammock, whatever it may be, get yourself off the ground and you will automatically be warmer.
Yep.
So the one thing though where you're not gonna get that warm, like if you're on kind of that skaggier ground, it's gonna go through the ground more just because the permafrost underneath is just gonna kind of go away if it's winter.
Yeah.
Like we've done a lot back when we could start driving, me and my good buddy, we'd go hunting all the time and we slept by the fire every night. And if you had like a more of a muskeg base, it filters through more. It's going to heat up more underneath you. The permafrost goes faster. Like the frost, that little layer is going to go, and you're getting a little warm. But like in the winter, if you're too high off the ground, you're going to get that cold air going underneath you.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a problem. You're going to have to block off that backside where the wind's coming through. Even if it's just bark, you can bark in kind of your little bed, and that's just going to have the heat from the fire go underneath you and up.
Yeah.
And that wind is a huge factor too, right? I mean, especially
Absolutely.
here in Alberta, you get that chill.
Yeah, and if you create just a reflecting wall, like Mitch was kind of saying there with bark, that heat's going to bounce off that bark or off the spruce boughs, and it's going to reflect back onto you as well. So you'll get pretty warm doing that. And it could be rocks, it could be bark, it could be even a cave or a rock pad in behind you. Anything that's going to bounce that back at you, it's going to keep you warm.
Yep. Now, Mitch, I know you brought up flints. Chris, you pack one as well. What do you have there? I called it a sparkler just to get a rise out of you before the show, but
so I have quite a few of them. But the one that I pulled out is actually the one that I brought with me on the show. And it is just one of these just little guys here with the striker on it. Right. So all it is just a ferrocerium rod and just a striker. And if you guys are able, you're able to throw a lot of sparks off that, which isn't coming up on camera. But you guys are able to throw a lot of that sparks, and it will catch a lot of just fibrous material. And that's the thing with tinder is you can collect all the grass you want, but it's processing it. And the more fibrous it is, the better. It's going to catch it. And if you're not sure if it is dry, hold it to your nose. Your nose is going to tell you if it is truly dry or not. If you touch it and it's cold or if it feels damp, don't use it. Right? But yeah,
that's a really good point. I never thought about that.
Yeah, so I bring fire starters with me and, waterproof matches. You can even waterproof your own matches with just a little bit of nail polish or just candle wax. You could just waterproof them yourself. Or, petroleum jelly and cotton balls or dryer lint and wax. There's a bunch of stuff that you could do that don't take up a bunch of space. But I will always bring matches. I will have a fire starter. I wear a fire starter with me. On this starter here, it's a little ferrocerium rod with a striker. So I always have some way that I'm able to get a fire going.
That's a great idea. I thought that was just your choker chain.
No, I'm still waiting to get that back from you.
Oh, okay. Well, no problem. It's in the mail
make
with
sure
a
you
check.
get the collar back with me next time, though.
No comment. Well, actually, I brought it up because I don't actually use it a lot. I've probably never used it if I'm being honest. I pack it on my fishing lanyard. Because you never know when I'm going to get mad and get lost on the Bow River in the city. But hey, it's there anyways. And I actually pack it with all my gear with me: hook, sharpener, punch. When we're doing manis and petties in the bush, just Chris and I. Yeah. But this little Smith's, man, it's been awesome. Yeah, it's all the attachments, everything you need on it.
The little, Smith's makes some pretty good stuff.
Makes a nice light pack, right?
Oh,
And then knife sharpener on there too.
yeah, and a honing rod and everything too. Like it's good.
Yep.
It helps you out for sure.
It's the small stuff, right? You
Yeah,
pack one, Mitch?
No, I just run a little flint rod. Like I got one kind of in the door of the truck, and I got one in everything I have, right? I have one in my backpack. I have one in my big hunting pack. I have one in the door of the truck. Like when we go camping, we test stuff every time we go out. Like we'll go see a new survival thing that says start fire this way. And that's how Aaron starts the fire. Because it's just fun, right? It's something that's fun, but could save your life at some point. And
I need to get so much better at that. You guys would be so ashamed of me if I told you what I do lately to start a fire.
you gotta put down your propane torch.
Yeah.
I got in the trailer. I have the blue bottle of butane with an automatic torch. And I just set that thing up in the fire pit, man, and I let her blaze. That's how I work fires.
That's what I do in my wall tent when we come back in like minus 34.
Yeah.
We just do that because that's easy. We don't want to start fire. We just want to be warm.
Chris just realized that if him and I get lost together, he is screwed, man. He's going to be the fire starter in this group.
No, not at all. I mean, I could eat you.
Yeah.
I mean,
or he's gonna cut you open and crawl inside you like Star Wars.
Oh, Star Wars style. That wouldn't be awkward at all. He'd come out wearing my head on his shoulders.
Hey, if I come out wearing a Todd Boyd cape and belt, like I will own that forest. But I mean, Mitch, you nailed it. It's a lot of it's trial and error, but it's trial and error when you're comfortable. So,
I haven't seen you since you lost all this weight, so if you skin me out, it's gonna look like you're wearing a muumuu when you come out of the bush. So you'll have to deal with that accordingly.
Hey, I mean, we could tan some hides, make some shoes. We'll be all right. But
anything's possible, man.
Exactly. But yeah, Mitch, I mean, like you said, it's all about being comfortable with what you have before you get into that situation. So I did a video on BLI Outdoors probably about 6 weeks ago where you could actually start fire with coffee grounds. So it's a lot of little things like that if you guys are able to try it out in a controlled environment and be comfortable with it, you're going to be comfortable with it in an uncontrolled environment.
I will start getting better, and Marcy will make sure I stand true to my word. How's that sound?
It's just a fun thing to do, right? Like it's a controlled environment. Hey, let's try this while we're out camping. Like it's a fun thing that you can do that can save your life. So you might as well try it while you're just hanging out because you never know when something's going to go sideways, and you're going to need that skill.
Here's what I'll do, Chris. You give me a challenge on how to start a fire for next week when I'm camping, and I will record it. I will start a fire with the method you tell me. How's that sound?
We'll make it easy for you. We'll do a platform fire with that flint and steel.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Done. Todd's on fire.
I was hoping he'd say diesel tank to...
Yeah, we're going to have you just turn on the burners in the trailer and then put the Calgary Sun on it, and we'll be okay.
Awesome. Okay, so next week, platform fire with flint.
Yeah, with your little fire starter. No paper, no nothing. You got to process out your own tinder.
Oh, right here, man. I got a head full of tinder.
Gray hairs don't burn.
Gray hairs don't burn. All right. Well, Vishal's got a question for you, Chris.
Sure.
On the show, how did you deal with bugs and other critters that can pretty much, I think he means obviously go anywhere if you get the drift?
Yeah, so great question. I was pretty fortunate in the fact that where I was, it was a heat wave. So I was in northern Mexico in the Sonoran Desert during a heat wave. So I was pretty fortunate in the fact that we didn't have a whole lot of mosquitoes. Well, we did have those 18 different types of scorpions, bunch of tarantulas, black widows, tarantula hawks. We had a bunch of other insect threats that were very, very real. The biggest thing with a lot of bugs, smoke. You smoke them out, and they're going to keep you away, and making sure that you still have that fire going throughout the night because a lot of them are nocturnal. So they will come after you at night and will chew on you. That's where you get a lot of chiggers. That's where you get a lot of the mosquitoes. They're going to bite you up. So definitely keep a good smoke going. And then you could use mud. Now, mud is one of those things that is kind of a little bit more controversial, and it is one that I don't personally like. Mud dries out very, very easily, and it actually pulls a lot of moisture out of your skin. So yes, you might get a little bit of that reprieve from sunburns and bug bites automatically, but you're going to run the risk of getting sunburnt very, very quickly as well. So if you're going to do that, my personal recommendation would be just to get the smoke going. When it comes to critters, make a lot of noise, and same deal, fire signals predator. So if you have a fire going, that is going to keep a lot of the predators away from you. So on the show, I was getting stalked by a pack of coyotes. I had a mountain lion that was pretty damn close to me, a bunch of snakes. We had birds of prey. They're called the Harris hawks. They're the only bird of prey that actually hunts in packs to take down deer. We had all these different animals that were definitely threats. But if you had that fire going, they're not going to come near you. And if you do hear something, make noise.
What was that hawk called? I got to YouTube this thing now. Let me make a note.
It's a Harris hawk.
Harris hawk.
Yeah. Always have that fire going, like, because fire is your best friend. And if you're going to smudge it, like in certain forests, just spruce boughs and stuff, you're going to smudge out all those bugs, ticks, everything. Nothing wants to be around all that greasy smoke.
And the nice thing too is with the spruce browse and the pines is you could actually get fat wood out of it as well. Yeah. Fat wood is just a resin-soaked dead piece of this pine or your spruce, which is another, again, fire starting. It's a waterproof fire starter. And a lot of people use it for like their charcoal grills or their barbecues, but you can actually find it naturally. And because it's resin-soaked, that'll burn super dark as well. And it'll burn very, very hot. So that will actually keep a lot of the bugs away as well. But yeah, leaves, dead leaves, pine needles, things like that, they'll keep all that away for you too.
I just had a crazy thought. I'm thinking about what you said about mud, because I would have never thought about that, and how about it draws the moisture out of your skin.
Yeah.
What about soot? Charcoal.
Soot? Yeah, I mean, that would help you out, but the thing is it's black, so it's going to collect a lot of that sun ray as well. So you're going to actually catch a lot of that very quickly. You're going to sweat a lot more, and you do run that risk of burning up pretty good. It's the same deal as like football players that put the black underneath their eyes is to reflect that sun away, but it does draw a lot of that sun and those rays to that. And that's why the coffee grounds, as an example, it is dark and it is fibrous, and that is why it is able to collect that heat very well. And even just, Mitch, I'm sure as you could attest to, the black ink on a lot of newspapers or your reg guides, that is what catches first, right? So a lot of the black is going to catch, and it is going to hold that heat a lot more. So will it work for a little bit? Sure. But eventually you're going to end up sweating all that off, and you got to reapply it anyway.
Something to think about. The mud thing shocked me.
Hey, it's Predator, Arnold Schwarzenegger. You see the heat when Predator's looking for him, sunk down in the meat, sunk down on the side of the river there. He's covering himself in mud because mosquitoes and bugs are looking for that heat source.
Exactly.
That's what it is.
The flip side, though, is if you're going to do mud, bees are actually attracted and will attack anything dark. And that is why bears kind of go after the honey, and that is why bee suits are actually white. So when a beehive will notice something big and mobile and dark, it will instinctively go and attack it because they will automatically associate that with a bear. So you just got to be careful with where you guys are actually wearing a lot of the mud as well. And you don't want to get chewed up with a bunch of bees as well.
We definitely wouldn't want that. You mentioned bears.
Yeah.
It is bear season. Are you guys packing spray with you?
Yep.
Mitch, do you need me to send you a can?
No, we got a couple, and I got a 12 gauge.
Yeah.
I got a lot of bear deterrents. The areas I go to, I know there's a lot of bears in, but like I see a lot of bears. You deal with them. Black bears are usually pretty good. Like you can make a lot of noise, they're gonna run off.
Yeah.
As long as you're looking bigger than them, etc. Make yourself bigger than the bear.
Yeah.
For black bears, make noise, make yourself bigger. If they're there, I've never had a problem with a black bear, and I bear bait. I hunt bear baits all the time. I've never had a problem with one. They've talked to me a lot, like they'll snap their jaws a lot at you, but I don't, that is a warning sign. Like if you're hiking or something and hear that clacking,
Yep.
yeah, you should probably start moving back slowly from that area that you're hearing that noise if you don't see the bear. But usually, if you see the bear, they're going to give you a posture and stuff. And if you run into the bear, just slowly back up. Like, don't make eye contact. Just slowly make your way out of the area, make noise, make sure they know you're there. You're like, hey, bear, and just slowly make back. Smack trees. Make yourself bigger than they are. Like, grab 2 branches and just start swatting stuff so you're the bigger predator, right? So they're not going to want any part of you because they're going to be intimidated. And that's the way black bears work.
Did you learn Hey Bear from a Steve Arnell episode?
Yeah, I watched it last night.
You watched Meteor.
Aaron just watched it last night again.
The grizzly one?
But grizzlies are a way different breed.
Yeah.
Like I've ran into grizzlies and they'll stare at you and we'll be backcountry sheep hunting or something. They'll stare at you. They don't care about you. Like they'll look you in the soul and say, yeah, okay, whatever. And they'll just keep walking. So you want to get yourself not as fast away from them, but slowly. And if you can get upwind so they can catch your human scent, it's a better scenario because it's going to spook them. Majority of those bears will get spooked by your human scent. But you got to make noise, get big. There's not the grizzlies. Every grizzly I've ran into has had no time of day for me. They'll see me. I make myself known, and they'll just keep doing their thing. I've never had a bad experience, but the thing with them, they don't care who you are. Like, not like a black bear. They'll run away.
Yeah.
Grizzly bears, everyone I've had is just like, oh, you're sitting right there. I don't care.
Yeah. So I know I spend a lot more time online than you guys do, but have either one of you seen the video of the young boy walking away from a grizzly as his dad coached him to walk back slowly? And I mean, I would assume that's what they do. I don't know that multiple languages, but it was pretty interesting to watch how the situation changes when you're not running away.
It's interesting because, like, even with a cougar, I've had friends with cougars. Like, one of my best friends, we were hunting elk. I dropped them off at this area, and this cougar got on him. And you have to make eye contact with the cougar 100%. They'll run up on you. They will run, like, every time he, like, just, like, kind of stumbles on a thing, they're making up approach on you, like, 5 yards, 10 yards, just depending how far your focus is out of making eye contact with them. But grizzly bears, they're a different breed. Like, they know they're king of the forest.
Yeah.
You have to give them the respect. Like, you run into them, make noise, and get away from that scenario, like, as fast as possible. But don't run because then you just become a prey.
Yeah. And Mitch, you kind of just nailed it there. Like, if you're dealing with any bear or any predator, never turn your back on them either, right? Because that right away. So while you are making yourself big, you're backing up, right? But you never give your back up to a predator because they will go after you. But exactly what you said, like, don't run. And it doesn't matter if it's a cougar, grizz, brown bear, black bear. The minute you run, that triggers their prey instinct. And they're going to start running right after you. So.
Hear that, Marcy? Next time we go to Bear Pond, Don't let me run away from the bear. Vishal actually brought up something that I would be guilty of, and it's how he's learning how to pack bear spray and not have it in the bottom of his backpack. Pretty important. You probably want to make sure that thing's pretty close to you if you do end up needing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can buy holsters or even your cup holder on your backpack, right? Like right on your side, as long as you can grab that stuff quick. When I'm sheep hunting, I have it on my harness, like my latch in the front. I hold it right here.
Yeah.
Just because I have a rifle and everything, but that's right there. Because you don't always. The thing with Alberta, it's a horrible thing. Well, it's not a horrible thing, but if you have a grizzly charging you and you don't shoot it when it's chewing on your arm, you're probably going to get charged for killing an endangered animal.
Yeah.
And it's a weird thing right now with the transition of how much population there is in Alberta right now. And we're kind of just going through the transition. And if you look out Canada Outdoors magazine right now, TJ Swanky did the article on the grizzly hunts coming back in Alberta, which is a thing that has to happen because the population is just blooming. Like, it's getting up there where we need to have, even if it's a lottery tag, just like the goat, there has to be something because, like, 2 people died, or was it 2 people died or one
2
person
people
died?
this year, one in
Yeah.
Cypress and one in Water Valley. Yeah.
And they're only like, that's pretty much the same exact area.
Yeah.
And when I talk to my CO friends around Nordegg, it's the same thing. There's so many grizzly bears in these areas.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to say anything because it's a political thing, right?
Well, and it's been a big issue for years where BC allows it and Alberta doesn't as well, right?
BC got shut down.
Yeah.
BC grizzly tags got shut down 2 years ago now, I believe.
Yeah, 2 or 3, yeah.
And now you can only do Yukon is the other grizzly territory. So, and that was a huge thing in BC.
Yeah.
But that's grizzlies for you, and it's a political matter, and that's the way they're going to play it off.
Well, and so long as the sports are being, hindered by those, it's always going to be a battle, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, actually, speaking about the population of grizzlies, I mean, we didn't plan on talking about this, but how, we're talking about how much the population is increasing, but what kind of pressure are we applying on it with all the people in the last couple of years that are getting into experiencing the outdoors, and many of them aren't prepared?
The thing is, though, is like a lot of these people have to understand that you're going into the bears' territory, right? Like that's their home. So I know that AHIA does, the Bears Smart course and everything on those lines, and that's all fine and good. But I think at the end of the day, you have to be bear aware and realize, like, okay, if you're going to be hiking these trails, you're going to come across a bear in spring, right? If you're in winter, so hunting season, they're getting ready to hibernate. So they're going to be hungry. They're going to be out there eating a bunch. So it's just at the end of the day, just being predator aware, not just bear, not just cougar, but just predator aware. I mean, even rattlers. If you're dealing with rattlers out in the Badlands or down South Saskatchewan, like if you're dealing with those, you got to be aware of what the threats are that are around you. And or else we're going to continue to have instances like what we had last year with the bear attacks. And we've seen more and more of these cougar videos that are coming out as well.
Well, and I have to call him for being late on the show, but Adam is watching. And if anyone can wrangle a snake, it's that guy. But again, he knows what he's dealing with.
Exactly. Right. And I mean, out here we have our rattlers. Then we also have the bull snakes, which look identical, minus the rattler as well. So it's just being aware of kind of your surroundings. But I think, unfortunately, we are getting into a situation where we have a lot of people that, might watch Sportsman Channel or watch Wild TV or things like that and think, yeah, I could do that. And then they go out there and they do their hunter education course, and they go out and they get their firearms license if they're doing it that way. And they go out there and they're grossly unprepared.
Yeah.
And that is where we fall into, we need more education from the conservation standpoint, as well as education on a wildlife management standpoint.
Right.
Because right now we're seeing the grizzlies blow up, and we're seeing more and more and more of these cougar videos, and people aren't really knowing on how to react to it. So our governments need to understand the wildlife management side of it, as much as, the hunters and the hikers and the campers need to understand the wildlife management. But we also need more education on the conservation and preservation of these areas too.
You had mentioned bear safety courses. Vishal actually had a question that ties in with it. Now, are you aware of any organizations that offer survival courses?
Yeah, there's actually quite a few. So I actually teach survival.
There you go, Vishal.
So, I mean, if you're interested, reach out to me on BLI and Outdoors, and we'll hook you up. But there is Northern Bushcraft, I know, is kind of down, I want to say, Bowden area, I think he's at. So, yeah, there is actually quite a few that are around.
Out of the Red Water area.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
he does the winter course.
Yeah. So, but Morris Kachansky, he recently passed away, but he did a lot that was out here. And he's like the father of modern bushcraft. And UFC actually does like a winter survival and just a basic survival course as well.
That's actually really good to know. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure IKEA does a couple of little camps and survival stuff as well.
Sorry, did you say IKEA?
No, IKEA, Alberta Hunter.
Okay, sorry. I heard IKEA and I just thought of home of the $1
well, they might.
ice cream
I mean,
cone.
you gotta put together your shelters and everything. So,
Alfred Lake does it out of their institution.
Yeah.
They have a course every week.
Yeah.
And then they always have their Alfred Lake is an amazing area there. Like they have their shooting range, and they have all their cabins and the lake right there.
That's where they do their women in the wild course and everything too. And,
Oh yeah, they have so many programs if you're looking for something.
Yeah.
Like it's amazing, that place.
Yeah.
That's really good to know. We might have to dig up some information on that to share everyone on the show. That's good information. I could probably even use a course like that.
We usually camp at the end of the lake, but because it's crownland camping on the other end of the lake.
Right. I realize now it's just making me look like I'm a city boy that doesn't know anything. I could survive in the wild. I don't need a course, everybody. I'm just saying.
That's why
always nice.
That's why Todd goes to IKEA for his survival courses. He goes against the meatballs. And
$1 meatballs.
Yeah.
Swedish meatballs.
Absolutely, it's IKEA.
Can't take the ice cream. Scott saying
They
city
flop.
boy. No man, I like my drumsticks. That's why Did you know now they call it glamping?
Yeah.
Do you think
I
it hurts my
almost brought a
feelings?
lamp. Almost brought a lamp for my wall tent the other day.
Whoa, Mitch, you're stepping her up a little bit.
Yeah.
I thought you got rid of your wall tent.
No, I got that new Cabela's. Well, it's not new anymore. They just discontinued it last year, but that 12 by 12 wall tent they had, the Aklunk, something like that. I'm not good at speaking or spelling, so it's something like that. It started with an A and ended with a K, but it's an amazing thing. Like we got a queen size bed over on the one side, then we have our table and our stove in there and everything, and it's sweet setup, easy, light, way lighter than the canvas tent, but those canvas tents hold so much more heat.
Yeah. Well, Vishal's saying let's do this, so maybe it gives me an idea. We'll when all of the politics stuff is over with, maybe we'll have to do a big get together in a survival weekend or something like that. Survival of the fittest with Be a Lion Outdoors.
Let's do it.
I'm sure we can line something up.
Mitch, you bring your wall tent and I'll bring my butane torch.
I don't think we'd have to do that. I think we could set it up at Caroline there. No problem. At Alfred, we could, like, they're always looking for more and more people to do stuff like that, and we could like rent it and make some winter project. We could probably do summer projects because they're never fully booked, and anything we rent from them is just going back into education for other hunters, right? So.
And I was actually supposed to do a kids survival course with them, and then COVID hit as well. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure out in Caroline and Alfred, I think they'd be all for that.
I think we just found our first event to do when all this is over with.
Yeah. I think it'd be a good time.
Big survival course.
Well, there's so many things you can do with that place, so. We can make some big project and do our survival thing. Then you can do a summer thing and a fall thing.
Yeah, that'd be perfect. I'll bring my trailer. You guys can sleep on the ground. No comment. Leave that alone.
I'll sleep in my helicopter, but no big deal.
In your helicopter? Well, Chris, I really wanted to thank you for joining the show. I guess we should probably announce the winner of that stove.
Before you do that, Todd, the winner also will get a full survival series brochure kit that I will deliver right to your email inbox. It covers 5 W's, all about the 5 factors of success, your core 4, the rules of 3, doubling up, and with the most important survival tool that you could ever bring. So the winner will get that as well.
Awesome, Chris. And actually, I signed up for your stuff. So where can people find you to learn more?
So what I'll do is I'll put a comment actually in this once we're all said and done. But I actually have a one and done page that you can find me at for anything and everything. So it is a Linktree page. So all you have to do is linktr.ee/Be a Lion Outdoors. That'll take you to everything. My Naked and Afraid page, where you can get these brochures, where you can get swag gear like this, and just everything that you need to know. It's all held right there. But I'll put that comment in this thread as well.
That's awesome. Share that on here. Well, you'll be happy to know Mitch won his own stove.
What? Okay, pick a new number right now.
No, I'm just messing with you.
No. Right now.
I'm actually joking. You didn't win it. You were the first one to share the post, and you didn't pick that. So the winner of the stove, now keep in mind, whoever shared this live is entered for the second stove because the Hoarder's got a second one there. Can that be your official show name, the Hoarder?
No, I don't hoard that much stuff.
Okay, I don't know. We'll still come up with a name for you. Mr. Bobby Ziegler. Bobby, you're probably building rods for the Rod Lab right now, but you, sir, want a stove and you want a package there from Chris, so we'll make arrangements to get that to you.
Yep.
There's something else I was going to say, and I lost my friggin' mind. Don't know what it was. Chris, Be a Lion Outdoors, and we're voting to get you back on the Naked and Afraid show or on Discovery, right?
Let's do it. Yeah, I was the first Canadian male to go do it, and I would love to get it back out there and do it again.
Let's get it done. Mitch, where can everyone find you at?
Northwest Mitch on Instagram, Northwest Mitch on Facebook, and that's pretty much all for now.
That's awesome. And Kevin is our guest next week. You can reach me at you can reach me on here every Tuesday, 7 p.m. or at Living for Fishing on Instagram. Chris, Mitch, thanks for joining the show. I know we'll do our After Dark, and we might have to talk about that after the show because we've actually had people asking if they can come on there. Who knows? Maybe we'll set something up. Everyone have a great week. thinking about the family in Saskatchewan. Anglers, be safe. Remember, if you need to reach out to someone, we're a brotherhood. We're all here for you. It's all about mental health. We'll see you all next week on the Other Line Canada. Take care,
Be
everyone.
safe out there.
Wow.